Welcome to Figures of Speech for the Mind, where we dive into the fascinating world of language and its impact on our thoughts, imagination, and understanding. In this video, we're going to explore some intriguing figures of speech that I've come across on my Facebook newsfeed. When facades get mixed up with what people have to do to survive, we find ourselves repeating the same outcomes in the simulation. How can we not consider ourselves slaves if we always allow facades to determine who we really are? No matter how far you make it in life, you will lose yourself when you forget what you did to get there. If you use your money or status to replace foundation, you end up losing either way it go. My trust runs thin in the beginning, not after the fact. I'm not trying to change a person, get something out of a person, I just keep it pushing. They prefer to brainwash people into thinking rejection no longer exists in great relationships. I'm just here to remind people about what they need to know about rejection when temporary validation no longer exists. A society that needs large amounts of law enforcement because society is so bad that humans can't police themselves speaks volumes. The need for more law enforcement inherently means that things are going to get better temporarily, but worse in the future. Knowing what rejection feels like is one of the most underrated feelings. Many don't make it out the storm honorably. This speaks volumes on how strong the mind can be. No matter how many times we leave Earth, we still have to come back and cope with rejection. A lot of these celebrities are the most deceitful people on the planet. Money does that to people, and it makes people believe that everything that goes on in the circus is real. Rejection is for the strong. I don't need the validation. People can't sense when they are getting played or lied to because they lack the knowledge to do so. Many will spend their whole lives like this, and many call this acceptable because they benefit from it. People lie and tell people what they want to hear so much. It makes being independent just that much more fulfilling. Knowing when someone is being sneaky doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean that you don't know how to stay down when times get more difficult. It just means that your self-awareness makes a lot of manipulative people feel uncomfortable. Reverse psychology only works on people that don't know much about it. There's always people that make you feel like rejection is going away and never coming back. Then there is me. You won't get to equality without rejection. When you know how to do something, you don't need anybody to do it for you. Rejection can be a major injury or minor setback, but the person inside of you determines whether you give up. It's a lot of pathological lying on social media, but you have to know what pathological lying is to identify it. The world isn't ending, you are just dealing with rejection like everybody else. If you take the kid or kids out of the equation, most couples more than likely hate being around each other. Not much of a difference between clout chasing and status chasing. People will pretty much do anything for the attention. Internal validation is all a person needs to be authentic. They are an expert in this field and that field. The question is, are they an expert in wanting to see you do better than them? Every time I see these relationships on social media, I'm rarely impressed. She always calls Stockholm Syndrome love. I'm not impressed.
Knowing when someone is being sneaky has nothing to do with being negative. When you know something, you just act in accordance to actually knowing. If people don't know how to grow their mindset, how can they grow into some type of purpose? Relationships feel like a job when you are always trying to change that person. You have to learn from your mistakes. Most people care too much about what people think about them to not be led by the blind. A man doesn't have obsessive-compulsive personality disorder (OCPD) because rejection is something a man gets used to. People that believe that opposites attract or submit to them have a huge imagination. Their belief may stem from the assumption that opposites complement each other, where one partner's strength compensates for the other's weakness. However, this is a misconception. Healthy relationships between opposites are more about balance and mutual respect and submission. If someone expects submission simply due to differences, it may reflect more about power dynamics and control rather than the natural draw of opposites.
Wasting time is like a treadmill. You're simulating going somewhere, but you ain't went nowhere. It don't matter how much money they have or happy they seem to be. If they look people in the eyes and don't see when people are being sneaky, they'll continue to fail as leaders. Most people don't know how to manage their emotions, so they act childish out of frustration. The more time you spend studying how to manage your emotions, the better you will get. Wasting time definitely isn't going to get you anywhere. They rarely mention serial killers as the main problem with the dynamics of men and women relationships in the US because they can't let in fear. The people that die first in scary movies always lack self-awareness. I can't empathize with people in fake friendships. I refuse to be afraid to just say I'm not friends with a person. I don't pay attention to what people say, I pay attention to their actions. Most people don't know how to do this. My content is for the underdog, the person that is always getting counted out. If you are looking for people that don't have to go through rejection and self-improving, you are listening to the wrong videos. Rejection isn't as bad as people think. Mental struggles pay off after you endure them over time. Growth is more self-satisfying than instant gratification. If a man thinks more before he emotionally reacts, he becomes more in accordance with his natural position as a man. Being single is the best way to reject women so that they can learn how to empathize with men more.
That's it for today's episode, folks. I hope you found these figures of speech as fascinating as I did. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing linguistic insights. Until next time, keep exploring the power of language.